away. And it was COVID year. And she was really worried, like, how is it going to be? It's like, go ahead. We need that. It's the idea in my head for like over 10 years, but I'm busy with life and work and stuff. I never have a time to start it. And subhanAllah, I'm so glad to be part of their team. And mashallah, Lena, she puts a lot of efforts, and both of them as a team work together. It's an amazing place, and they're doing beautiful work. So my name is Suhair Sadi, and I love children, and I love teaching. And when you teach the kids and you see the knowledge they gain, you teach them something, you show them, and you see the growth in them, it's the world to me. Like when we do everything in life, it's like always the intention, even like for me as a Muslim, that you get judged for your intention. So why we need to teach Arabic? Why Arabic is important? Number one, if you're Muslim, you're Christian, where are you from? And let's say if you're Arabic native, like this is the heritage, where you come from, your religion, your background, your akhirah. So it connects you with others, it connects you with family. Like I notice right now with my kids, whatever who knows how to speak Arabic, they love to go to Jordan. I'm Palestinian, but we live in Jordan. So they love to go to Jordan. They love to meet with their family, talk to them. But the ones who's like struggling with the language, they love the family, but they don't want to connect with anybody because it's a struggle for them. I remember my two adult children, they went to Jordan 2 years ago. And my son this is in public, hope you never see me. So he was struggling to connect with them and talk to them because it was really hard for him. He said, like, I need them to repeat for me like many times so he can understand it. So he wants to be with the family, he wants to spend time with the family, but the language barrier make it like a struggle for him. So he wants to learn, but still, like when you're older, like it became like you need more work to do that. Besides that, like when you're bilingual, or like when you learn more language, you're opening like more brain cells to your children. They're given like cognitively like smarter, and you open doors for them. I remember I watched this documentary about a young man. I think he was Egyptian. His dad taught him a language, a second language, and third language. And it's like a code, and he figured out the code and became learning languages very easy for him. And he knows like more languages. And I believe the Arabic language is like the core, or like for all languages around the world. Like when you go to a family and you need to understand the joke. For me, like I'm over here for like almost 30 years, but it's still hard for me to understand jokes in this country. Because I'm not part of that culture. I have to and it's not funny anymore when my kids explain it to me, because you don't know like the roots of like this and that. So like it's very important to learn the language, and there is like you have to start from this age and that age. When you're baby in your tummy, like start from that time. Your intention, you need to do it, and you need to put the efforts for it, to teach them and connecting with it in a lovely way. And for the future, to have 2 languages, 3 languages, this is like more things to put in the resume and more jobs opportunity for you. And especially the world became like really small right now, so like this really important for us to do as it's a responsibility. We're going to be taken care of the way it should be. And right now we have a lot of resources compared to before. I remember when my kids were younger, we used to go to Star Bakery. They have the video cassettes. Remember the video cassettes? They used to record like the Arabic cartoon show, and I have to buy it for like $5-6, and we sit and watch. And my kids, what's this? What they mean? What they say? It was very annoying in the beginning, but like they get it. And right now we talk about like Adnan and Lena, about like the shows that we used to watch, and they have like memories with it. If they see a book or see a picture, it's like, oh, you remember? So like it brings like bonding time. Even like when we used to watch TV, not like the YouTube and keep scrolling stuff. We used to like in the evening time, we have the TV and we watch like an Arabic show on TV. like a series or like a movie or a historical story, whatever. So like they said, like number one, they learn the culture, they learn the language and the accents. Like my girls right now, they know all kind of accents. If they hear a music or they hear like a TV show from Iraq, from Syria, from Egypt, from anywhere, they get it. They get it really well because they were exposed to it when they are in a very young age. Like I said, like what Ms. Jamila said, you need to start from the very young age. Like she's like from pre-K 3, 2 years old. The language you speak at home. I noticed the difference between people who speak Arabic at home, if they are like native speaking, and like in the one who's like speaking Arabic but not using it in the house. You're exposed to it. Like some people, like you understand it, but you cannot speak back because they never reply back. So if you know the language, if you're Arabic speaking person, use it at home. And one time we were somewhere, and the dad was calling his son, come on over, daddy, come over here. It's like, okay, why speaking to him in English? Speaking Arabic. Like he like تعال هون يا حيوان. Sorry for the language. It's like why the tone is different? Why we have to use like you make it hard for them. You make it like you connect the language with something not nice. So you have to be really careful how to use the language. You have to be careful how to address the language and how to talk to them, and everywhere and anywhere. I know like for non-speaking Arabic is really hard, and it's like a learning journey for you and your children. You'll be learning the Arabic language, and at the same time you're teaching and you're helping your child will help you learn, like Husseina's mom. And she puts a lot of efforts, mashallah, I see that. And make it fun, being in a tent, being outside, being this, being that. It's not just like always paper and pen, let's study. Talking to them, watching videos, and right now we have so many resources like on YouTube, songs, books, teachers, schools. You have so many compared to where like 25 years ago from now. Number one is like to teach Arabic, like it's very important for them to know the sounds. And there's a mistake a lot of people do when they teach the sounds, like alif, then ba, then ta, then ta. I remember when I used to teach in Sunday school, you ask the child, what's this letter? So he closes his eyes, sin, because he goes in sequence. For them to know that, so I know that he knows this letter. He knows as soon as I show it to him, he's able to tell me this is sin, this is sheen, this is bad, this is ha. He doesn't have to go in the order. That's why when you teach them the Arabic, thank you so much. When you teach them, don't go in a sequence. And Montessori way is never go in a sequence, Arabic or English or any language. Don't teach the alphabet in sequence. So like focus on one letter, let them repeat it again, find objects. Kids love small objects, love pictures. So like to find objects, to find pictures, to find things, Google it together. Right now Google is very easy. Like anything that's like on the tip of your finger. Find pictures and learn the names of it. And any language, when you go learn any language in college, in school, Spanish, whatever, they always start with vocabulary. If you have the vocab, you can build in the language. So teach them the sounds, not in a sequence, and the shape of the letter, and how to write the letter. And writing does not have to be always with a pen and paper. You can have a painting brush and let them paint it in a sand, like salt. You have salt and you have a tray, like put them doing the sand, and it's so fun for them. With a brush on the fence, also in a hot summer day, like let them do it when the water, with the water on the sand, with chalk on the floor. On the fridge, the magnet stuff. There is too many ways of keep implementing the learning. After knowing the sounds, after that, what I do, I teach them the sounds in alphabetical order. After they master all the sounds, now I can ask them to put the letters for me from alif to ya, and at the same time always practice writing. It's not going to be finished in 1 day, 3 days, or a week, or 1 month. I teach Montessori, like early childhood, 3, 4, 5 years old. So like my lesson plan always is the same thing, but different, using different materials and different names. But the thing is the same. He's going to be learning how to write these letters for the entire year. Some kids get it before others. There is not and it's not fair to compare. Never compare your child with their siblings, with their neighbors, with their friends, and anyone. Like everybody learn a different way and learning his own pace. After mastering the sounds and being able to put them in order, we can introduce at the same time Fatha, Kasra, and Damme, and different, I call it like Arabic letter they love to dress up. Seen in the beginning, different than seen in the middle, seen in the end. And the letters who goes like they are like the naughty letters. They are naughty to connect with others because they want to keep their identity. If I connect and I write them like the wow with me, wow connected with the second letter, and what's this, and without the dots and the dots. So it's really fun, like wow. So like it's, and to see the wow in their faces is priceless. After that, we add the long vowels. At the same time, we add words. Then we start reading and matching pictures with words, so they can add the like it's work with the vocabulary and writing at the same time. And we add sentences. And at the same time, every single morning we practice like conversation. Assalamu alaikum, alaikum assalam, كيف حالك اليوم؟ أنا بخير الحمد لله. ما اسمك؟ اسمي. كم عمرك؟ عمري. How old are you? Like talk about yourself. In the beginning, you see the struggle, you see how hard it is, but like day after day, day after day. And you know, with the Arabic Schoolhouse, we do it once a week. And from the beginning of the year till the mid of the year, the end of the year, you see it. You see it. And that's what we're looking for. It's fun. It's worth it. Just do it. And Arabic Schoolhouse is open. And it's not because like I'm over here with them. I truly see the beautiful work they do. I really see it. They put a lot of efforts and they mean it. If the kid is not learning, they keep like checking with the parents. We talk to them and they have the resources and they send resources at home. Miss Lena, she sends the, it's printed, it's in the website, it's in the Google Classroom. It's like, she's like, whatever you want, I can do to help you, I'm over there to help you, and the resources are over there for you. Thank you so much for listening. Jazakumullah khair. And Miss Lena will be with, no, Miss Lena, no, Miss,
I'll do it.
okay.
Thank you so much, Ms. Suhair.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Jamilla. I know she was a little bit nervous, but I'm gonna tell you, she's amazing with kids. Kids
Yes.
love her. She doesn't always know how to express herself. I kind of forced her to do this, so please, yeah, it's okay. So we have covered 0 to 7. We covered early elementary. Now, finally, we're going to end with Ms. Laila Kharrat, who teaches the favorite age group, which is the teenage years. So welcome, Laila. Thank you.
Marhaba, assalamu alaikum. Thank you guys for having me today. My name is Laila Kharrat. I'm also Palestinian. My mom is from Haifa and my dad is from Akka. Before 48, they moved to Lebanon, Saudi, and then America. They moved here in 1980. I was born in 81. And my teta, alayhi rahma, she spoke with me in Arabic all the time. So I grew up fully bilingual with English and Arabic. We traveled to Lebanon, Amman, Palestine in the summers, like every other summer, after a certain age. And so I studied French throughout school and studied abroad my first year of college in the summer and became fluent in French. From there, I added Spanish intermediate level and German intermediate level through just listening and repeating. So what you were saying earlier about the that Arabic is like a gateway to many languages, 100% true. So I'm fluent in 3, intermediate in 2, and then I dabble in another 5, plus another 2 on the side. Some Italian, Portuguese, Hindi, Swedish, Polish, a little bit of Turkish, a little bit of Urdu. So I'm a polyglot. Yeah, I'm a polyglot. But I think Arabic for that, really. Because even with French, you can maybe have Spanish and Italian and Portuguese, but Arabic definitely opened my brain from a young age to being receptive to languages and, phonetically, just being able to listen and repeat. And so my Arabic language journey as a student started with the Arabic Heritage Society. So I thank all the mothers who organized the program in the 80s where basically we had like an hour and a half of Arabic based on your age group, and then recess, and then we had like an hour and a half of Deen. So based on your religion, you'll go in a different room. And it was also every Saturday morning. And we did that for maybe 5 to 8 years or so. When the school closed down, I had a private tutor for Arabic to continue the reading and writing. And then when I was in high school, I think I took a break from like formally learning Arabic. And then when I went to the University of Texas at Austin, I took Fusha for the first time ever, modern standard Arabic, and learned like Nisba and Idafa and all these grammatical concepts that I had always internalized but never formally learned how to do. When I came back to Dallas from Austin, I started teaching French. This is now my 18th year of teaching French. I'm just now entering the 18th year, and 19th total year of teaching. I did a fellowship year before that. And I started, I think, in 2018, teaching Arabic. And so to start to be a teacher, I observed what they do in some other schools in the area. A lot of them were using Alif, Ban, and Kitab, which is the textbook series that typically university students around America use. But I found the resources to be very, very college-based, and I'm teaching middle and high school. So it just wasn't really for them. I didn't think it was age appropriate, actually, or developmentally appropriate. So at the time, I used Ahlan wa Sahlan. And since then, I've been part of the Arabic Teacher Council. I'm actually part of so many different groups. Arabic Teachers Council of the South, ATCS. It's based in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm on their executive committee, and I've spoken on their panels on teaching Arabic. I'm part of the ACTFL, American Council on the Teaching of Foreign Languages, which is the national body that regulates or has standards for proficiency for language learning around the U.S. And through these conferences, I met actually the people who make Jusur. This is one of my favorite resources. It's my most recent resource, but it's an Arabic alphabet workbook. Jusur meaning bridges. There's also the textbook, which is you do the workbook for learning the reading and writing. Then you use the textbook for the applying the concepts in more in communicative ways. And then Arabiyyat and Nas for my more advanced groups. So I have Arabic 1 through 5 honors. So I teach 5 levels basically of Arabic. So based on where they are, and of course I'm open to changing and updating my materials all the time. The good news is when you're a language teacher, you can really have a lot of freedom on what resources you use. So Lena gave me a few prompts for today. The first topic is the importance of teaching Arabic for the specific age group you work with and have the most experience with. So for me, the importance of teaching Arabic has many dimensions. I will say that every student I've taught at the Episcopal School of Dallas, which is a Christian private school, none of them are Arab. Some are Pakistani Muslim, and they want to learn religion for their deen, for Islam. But the vast majority are non-Arab, non-Muslim students who are interested and curious about Arabic. We offer French, Spanish, Latin, Chinese, and Arabic. So obviously more people will take Spanish because it's Texas. From there, the second most would be French, then probably Latin. The least numbers are really Chinese and Arabic. And so it takes a certain personality, right? We have some kids who, quite frankly, they want to go to the Army and the Navy, and they know that having Arabic on their resume 1 or 2 years gets them into West Point. And my hope is that even these kids that I'm teaching, that they'll be, if they're working for the State Department one day and they hear hummus, they'll know it's different than Hamas, for example, right? That actually being able to hear the words is very, very important. And so my hope and goal is that I'm also promoting peace by understanding our cultures. And I try to diversify. There are 22 countries that speak Arabic. So it's not just, although I'm from Palestine and my dialect is Levantine, which is, Lebanon, Jordan, Palestine, Syria, Holy Land. I try to do like some forays into North African, like Moroccan, Algerian, Tunisian dialect, some Egyptian, some Iraqi, and some Gulf for the most part. But although I'm not a native speaker of those, so I would never try to speak the other dialects out of respect for the people who are native speakers, but I'll try to show videos. There are a lot of resources, as we were saying, on the internet. I mean, you can find videos of people authentically speaking in their dialect. And so yes, for me, the importance is these kids are going to go out into the world, right? From high school, they're going to go to college. My hope is that they continue learning Arabic. Some of my students have gone to Georgetown. They took Arabic, and then they took Farsi for Arabic learners. So they're taking Persian language as well, traveling to Tajikistan and continuing their Farsi and their Arabic. I have other students. One of my top kids is going to St. Andrew's School of Scotland, which has one of the best Arabic programs in the world. And the department chair is Russian and fully fluent in Arabic. So I just kind of to plant some seeds for your children in the future that there are some, and of course, UT Austin has an Arabic flagship program. UTD has an Arabic flagship program, so you can always look for those as your children grow up. That's maybe looking toward the future. But I believe that Arabic is a very important language to learn, not just because it's my own language and my culture, but because if we want our students to be culturally competent, global citizens. We want them to be able to filter what they see in the news and have a better understanding and be able to diversify which resources they use for gathering their information about the world. To me, that's just a conduit for peace and understanding and, building those bridges across cultures. Practical ways to incorporate Arabic for the age group and beyond the classroom. So there are two things that I focus on. I definitely start 100% with MSA, Modern Standard Arabic. You have to learn how to read and write the language in the standardized way. There's no way for somebody to learn Arabic only phonetically through a dialect. Unfortunately, if they try to read the news or watch the news or anything, they'll struggle. But on the reverse side, if you only teach Fusha all the time and you never teach any dialect, when they go, inshallah, to the Middle East, they're not going to be able to communicate with people. And actually, the people who developed Jusur, Sarah Standish, Richard Cousins, and Rana Abdul Aziz, Sarah and Richard were explaining that they took Arabic in their university. They took Modern Standard Arabic with no dialect. And when they went to the Middle East, as soon as they got out of the airport, they couldn't even ask for a taxi. And they struggled even to just communicate how to get to their place that they're staying, right? So for me, that's unfortunate, and it's really not practical. We have to teach the kids how to speak as well as read and write, listening and speaking, reading and writing. So what I do is I say from the beginning, because I'm from Palestine and Lebanon, my dialect is more Lebanese because my grandmother, Allah Yarhamha, was Lebanese. I say, this is my dialect and this is the dialect we'll use. But if you know you're going to be traveling to Egypt or you want to go to Morocco, then research those and find YouTube videos. There's so many free resources, and listen and practice with somebody online who is speaking in that dialect where you're going to travel. And that way you take the Fusha we learned, you take my dialect that we are, the Levantine dialect, and then you find the differences. Is it a ga? Is it a qaf? Is it a kaf? Like different words, have different sounds, but the base is very similar. At least 80 to 90% will be the same, but with a slightly different accent. It's the same as Spanish spoken around the world. It's the same as French spoken around the world. Each of these languages have dialects and accents based on the countries where the languages are spoken. So to me, there's nothing wrong with balancing that. So although I start with the Modern Standard Arabic, I then add the dialect by year 2. So really we start with reading and writing with letters. We start with basic words. We start with talking about ourselves and others, right? Basic, hi, how are you? Where are you from? Where do you go to school? Where do you live? Who's in your family? These basic things. Then when I have them do projects, we'll maybe do one project all in Fusha, and then we'll transition and do another project in the Hami, in this dialect. And so I use another resource called Wafa's Way, which is very hard to find online. It's all phonetic, and if somebody who's not an Arabic speaker at all or not native Arabic of heritage, it's all in phonetic English. And so you don't need to even know how to read and write the letters. So there are resources out there that you can use for dialect work. And so in terms of practical ways to incorporate it, beyond just using a textbook, I do a lot of listen and repeat warm-up activities, like we throw a ball around the room and ask and answer questions. I also have them, I bring music. I love music. So I bring music into the classroom, and I have my students memorize the chorus of songs so that if they're driving in a car or they're at an event and they hear the song, they can sing at least the chorus. I don't expect them to learn the whole thing, but I make that like an oral quiz grade. So it's like a very minor, low pressure grade. In the past, I used to have them do it live, but based on their age group, and of course they're a little bit self-conscious being in high school, self-aware and worried about their image, and they don't want to be made fun of. To foster a more safe and inclusive environment, I allow them to record theirs from home so they can practice as many times as they want. And then they post it to our LMS, our learning management system, which is called Schoology. And then only I watch their video, and then I give them feedback, and we're on a rubric. So out of 20 points, I'll give them, on the rubric, and I'll put the feedback in there so they can see what they need to work on. And it's usually this kind of activity is all based on accent and dialect and pronunciation. I don't care about the speed. So one of the great things about YouTube, if you're not already aware, is that you can take any video and you go to the cog wheel and you can go to 75% speed or even 50% speed. So if you're watching a native speaker or watching a music video, you can slow it down so they can hear the sounds and they can go at the pace that works for them or for their age group. So, I can go on forever about these, but I'll say one blessing in disguise. So outside of being part of these national groups, we have conferences every year where we go to Boston and Atlanta and LA. And we, the Arabic Teachers Council, or the Arabic Special Interest Group of ACTFL, Fadi Abu Ghosh is one of my absolute favorite people in all of America. He's one of the best Arabic teachers. He does something called CI, comprehensible input, where it's a lot of listening and repeating, and you just give them bits and pieces without overwhelming them with like reading and writing and translating whole sentences, which can quite frankly demotivate a young person or any new person to a language. So I work with some amazing people from around all of the US. We were in conferences together, and when COVID happened and we all went online, we started doing these conferences online, webinars all the time. I signed up for every webinar. We did Bitmoji classrooms. We incorporated technology, GIMP kits and Kahoots and all these games online. And ever since then, we've started basically this Arabic Teacher Council in the South. It used to be only the Southeast. And so I was fortunate to know the people from the conference and bring Texas in. And so now we have like 11 states that are part of that. This year, we're actually, instead of only having the conference in Atlanta, we're also going to be doing it in Houston with the AIMS School, Arabic Immersion Magnet School. So hopefully some of you have heard of that. I will be traveling to Houston for that conference. And then the next day will be the one in Atlanta. So you're either locally in person or you're online the next day. And so we're kind of doing it differently this year. But I believe as a teacher, it's really important for me to be also learning all the time. So by learning from other teachers, we have so much we can share with each other in terms of resources and techniques. The most important thing really is putting the child front and center. So if my students, if I'm working with them and I find that they're really struggling with some concepts, we'll slow down, we'll try it different ways. As with the younger ones, physical manipulatives are more important. With the older ones, I find that visual representation is more important, and that having them make projects that are based in themselves and others. For example, we do like a travel project every year where I have them pick a country or pick a city in anywhere in the Arabic speaking world. And we use like Google Maps, we use, Google Earth. We use Google Earth. So we actually go and we're in the 360 and as if we're there and we're seeing what's there. And, they'll each pick like, a coffee shop, a school, or a university, some natural feature, like they'll try to pick a diverse range. We even use Snapchat Maps, the public one, where you don't have an account and you can click and see somebody at the coffee shop, what they're saying and doing with their coffee, or if they're driving in the car, what song they're listening to and what they're seeing. So we kind of mix Google Earth with Snapchat Maps without even having accounts. Like my goal is that they don't have to have any
like
kind
a real life
right in the moment, and you just click on their hotspots. I highly recommend anyone to try. I don't have Snapchat at all, but you can literally click on the coffee shop and you see a person drinking their coffee and talking about whatever their coffee, or there's music in the background, and it's a way to make it real for them so they are motivated to want to travel there. In the end, we have to think, what is the point of learning a language that is not spoken here or that is not like the national language here? The point is eventually to travel to that place, and so I want them to see it and feel it and be excited about it and want to go there. So I tell them, whatever happens, when you go to college, spend a semester, at least go for 2 weeks, at least go for a month in the summer if you can't fit it in your schedule, but go and be immersed in the language and be in the country and hear the sounds. And actually I took students 2 summers ago to Muscat, Oman, and to Amman, in Jordan. We did 3 weeks at the Nur Magan Institute in Oman. And then we did 3 weeks at Sijal Institute with Katie Whiting in Amman. And it was an amazing program. We had a lot of cultural trips. We went to the Grand Mosque. We went all over the place. And it was a life-changing experience for a lot of these students. And I brought my children with me. They're now 10 and 12. So my only requirement as a chaperone was that I bring my own children. And my husband met me there in Amman, and we got to spend time with his family. And our children finally met their family in Amman for the first time. We tried to go before COVID. They were too young. During COVID, there were delays. So we finally went a few summers ago. Inshallah, we look forward to going back. But absolutely traveling to the place that you're studying the language for is very critical. So if you can at least instill that motivation in your children from a very young age, right? Let them research a different country every month or every semester, every season, and share resources and explore and discover. And as parents, my assumption here is that most people in the room are parents of children who attend Arabic school here. Your excitement and your motivation is absolutely what will help inspire them. And so, for example, with my kids, although we didn't, immerse them all the time in all the ways with them growing up, lately we've been using this book together. So like while my son is in basketball practice, I'll work with my daughter on Arabic, or while she's in gymnastics, he and I will work on Arabic. So we do like our one-on-one time, 1 hour each, and each of them have their own book and they're at their own pace. And that's been a really exciting experience. So my goal is to start that again. When school starts, we just build it into our schedules. So if there's any way to build it into your schedules, that you spend time with your children using resources at home to help complement the work that is happening here, I think that's very important as well. Shall we take questions and answers, or?
One more.
Yeah.
One more little session.
Yeah.
About Arabic School.
Perfect.
Open to.
Okay, good. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was really nice.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lena. I'm so
Welcome.
glad that I got you in.
Oh, thanks for inviting me.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm happy to partner with you all.
So one thing is, even though Arabic Schoolhouse, which is hosting this workshop, is focused on early childhood, which is the most important for languages. I don't know if that was covered, but research, shows that the first 7 years is absolutely the most important for language acquisition. This is a time that you really want to invest with them, not with money, with time. And so it's kind of a priority for me. As personally, I have 3 children in that age group. I have an 8-year-old, I have a 5-year-old, and I have a 3-month-old. And for all 3 of them, Arabic is going to be my priority. I know us as parents and millennial parents, we want to put them in everything. There's so many things: gymnastics, karate, taekwondo, music, all of that. We'll put them. But for the first 7 years, language is everything. I teach my children Arabic, not just because I come from an Arabic background. My dad is Arab, but my mother is Japanese. My mom doesn't, till today, does not speak Arabic. But I want to make sure that my kids get both languages because my parents made it important for them. My mom taught us Japanese. We only spoke Japanese at home with my mom. My dad spoke only in Arabic to us at home. So even though I went to an Islamic school and I learned Arabic, when people ask me, why is your Arabic good? I don't tell them Brighter Horizons Academy. I love Arabic, BHA, okay? But it's not because of a school. It's the home. The role of the parents, the role of the home is the number one most important thing. You drop them off once a week, 2 hours, and say, okay, I did my part, ma'a salama. No, that's just step one. We offer, as Arabic Schoolhouse, we offer a guide for you to help you support your kids at home. We provide a program. We do everything we can to provide a high quality program so that your kids enjoy learning Arabic. We teach Arabic developmentally appropriate methods we apply. We do not just hand them a book. No shade on Al-Qaeda, Nuraniya, Baghdiyya. They're very useful for learning how to read. But that's not how you teach a language. You need to teach language the way languages are taught. How do you teach English? Do you just hand them a book that's black and white? That makes zero sense when they read it? No. You want to make it colorful, make it exciting, make it interactive, make it engaging. You want to use all your senses. So we start from 0 all the way till 10 years old. Every year we've added a year, but inshallah this year we kind of ended the early childhood bracket. So from 3 years old all the way to inshallah 9-10 years old, where we have advanced to. We have 7 levels. We encourage all our parents to really invest in this time. We provide everything. We provide books. We provide and guidelines. We focus on concepts, we focus on themes, we focus on vocabulary, we focus on building the literacy, reading, writing, and speaking. We hit everything, but once a week is not enough. So we always emphasize, anyone who signs up at Arabic Schoolhouse, they tell me, so what can I expect them to learn after 1 year of signing up at your school? I tell them, you get what you put in. How much are you willing to put in to your child? And that's the progress that we see. We do benchmarks every year. Ms. Suhair was mentioning, we do benchmarks 3 times a year. So everything we're doing, if you're not keeping up with them, we test them. And then we see, okay, you know what, there's a little bit of a lapse here, a little bit of a lapse here, and we let you be aware. We send them a report card. It's up to you to decide what you want to do with that information, but we give everything we can. We make an open communication line the whole year. We do midterm, we do a mid-semester evaluation, especially when it comes to reading and writing. And then the speaking towards the end, inshallah, in the advanced classes, we plan to have more oral engagements. It's hard to do all in one. So we decided that we're going to focus more on the literacy of the reading, move on to writing, and then to oral. So inshallah, when they graduate from Arabic Schoolhouse, they'll be prepared to enter whatever they want to travel. They can have some basic communication skills. They have basic reading skills. They have basic writing skills. Writing is very hard. It gets rusty very fast if you don't use it. So we try to provide as much as we can to build that foundation so that if they choose, the parent decide, you know what, I really want my kids to do golf, for example. I really want my kids to do Chinese or Spanish. Great. You built the Arabic foundation, you invested in that time. So if you choose to do something else, they'll still keep it. I know this firsthand because that's what my mom did with me for the Japanese. We learned Japanese every week, every weekend. Our weekends were not that fun, but we learned Japanese every weekend as kids. At 3rd grade, my mom was like, oh, I can't do this anymore. We were 4 girls. She had a full-time job. So it was an investment because she was passionate about it. It was important to her. So we all are busy parents. It goes back to you. Is it a priority for you? It doesn't take much. 10 minutes a day, twice a week will do wonders. Ask any teacher.
In the car.
In the car.
In the grocery shop.
Anywhere.
Anywhere you go.
Find opportunities to make it fun. Don't overwhelm them. Even with my kids, I'm like, it does get a little bit, tiresome. But when they know it's important to you, they will want to do it. Even if they don't show it to you, they know in their hearts, this is important for my mom. And sometimes they want to show you, look, mama, I learned this, I watched this in Arabic and I can understand what they're saying. Take them to a country, they're speaking Arabic, they're going to be proud of themselves. When they can read and they can even if it's not 100%, it's okay. And inshallah, once they decide, maybe they go to Leila's class, in the future they want to travel, that foundation was there because you helped invest that in them. So that's basically what I wanted to mention about Arabic Schoolhouse. That starts here. A program like ours doesn't have to be our school. Any program where Arabic is taught in a way that makes them want to enjoy learning it. You don't want them to hate it. Once you feel that way, then you want to stop and reevaluate your method and try to make sure that they're not dreading to learn Arabic. Because that's something that we ran into as Arab American kids growing up here. Arabic was the least favorite topic, least favorite subject across the board. I don't know how it is today, but growing up, going to Sunday school, not a lot of kids were like, oh, I can't wait to go learn how to be at Sunday school. But mashallah, at our school, we see kids happy to come. The little kids run and they want to learn Arabic. They don't know that they're learning. They just know that they're having a good time. They're absorbing it. And then it starts to show once we go into pre-K4, we go to the beginner classes. Those kids that start in the pre-K3 are top in their class, are at the top every single time consistently. And the only thing that keeps them going is the effort of the parents. I have some parents in here that are some prime examples of my best model parents. They're not Arabic speakers. Somehow my top students always come from non-Arabic speaking households. The reason is because even though they have the disadvantage of not having Arabic in their home, they put that effort and their care. So I just want everyone to feel encouraged that it's possible. It just takes your effort and your priority. So I'm going to close it for question and answers.
Thank you.
I have a question for Arabic Schoolhouse. I am not a native speaker, and both of our boys are in a program.
Can you speak up because the line?
Oh, say that again.
Can you speak up because of
Oh,
the line?
so sorry. I said I'm not a native speaker. Both my boys are in the program, and we love it. My question is, the idea of little snippets of the grocery store in the car is completely agreed because I try to find pockets. The kids do spend naturally on the spectrum of parenting time with screens. My question is, are there, for non-native students, are there cartoons, are there little snippets that they can watch, like dub? We found dubbed Peppa Pig, and I tried to put it in front of them, did not work. I was just curious.
Dubbed Peppa Pig?
Yeah, dubbed in Arabic. And I was like, let's watch this, and I couldn't understand anything, and I was hoping to pick up a snippet. I'm just curious, are there any other tools like that, anything that you found success in?
I'll leave it to the panelists. Letitia, want that?
Do I have to? Okay.
Yeah, I'm just a moderator. So.
Okay. Like what I said before, when my kids were younger, over here, we used to go to the Arabic store, Sarah Bakery, and they used to sell video cassettes. They recorded the cartoons, and so I can work for my kids. In the beginning, what did he say? And I sit down and listen. So it took a minute, but in the end, you want to see the story, you see what happened, you explaining to them, you pause and you continue, you pause and you continue. It was a struggle in the beginning, but they get it. So right now you have YouTube. You can, when I came over here, my English was, you don't hear me speak English like 2 days. So, and what resources do we have? So I'm home all day, my husband at work, so I would just open the TV and to watch something appropriate, like something like, I found I Love Lucy. The show I Love Lucy? And I will sit and watch. And if there's a word I understand the thing, because we have the background of English back home in Jordan, because we start learning English from 5th grade in Jordan. But now it's from kindergarten. So if anything is missing or I don't understand the word, I want to know what they're talking about, I will write it down. And when my husband comes home, he will tell me what that means. So the first trip to Jordan, I brought a dictionary with me because back in the days there is nothing. So like one of them, like they were talking about, like he told me you look like a weasel. I was like, what is a weasel? Now I'll never forget what a weasel is. One of the shows is like افتح يا سمسم. It's like Open Sesame. It's in Arabic.
Sesame Street.
Sesame Street. Open Sesame. So like, sorry, yeah, Sesame Street. افتح يا سمسم. So like this is, I grow up as a child, grow up watching that show. So I can send you the link for like on YouTube, and you can just continue see, because they talk, they have like words, they have pictures, it's repetition. Cartoon, I don't know, but I you know, I have a friend of mine, and she's a Arabic Schoolhouse teacher right now. She speaks only Arabic in the house. When they do the homework, she explained the homework for them. They're in public school. She explained the homework for them in Arabic. When they watch cartoon, they watch the cartoon that we grow up with, which is like full of like a good stories, morals, and like it's build the character.
Anime.
Yeah, Japanese anime. You're right. And right now, if they want to watch like something like from what's going on in the cartoon right now, they cannot handle that. They grow up with that, so their Arabic is really nice. It helps them with their manners too. I have two sisters. One sister, she went to school, to college for like English literature, and that one went for Arabic. And you know, back in the days, even like when I think the history repeats itself. You know, like our Middle East under the occupation of other countries, the first thing they go against, like to take the Arabic away from them, because when you take the language, you took the culture, you took the religion, you took all the, you know,
The identity.
The identity. So for anybody to go study Arabic, to be an Arabic teacher, why? They don't even pay good. Like the Arabic teacher is the least paid teacher because they make something is not available. And I see the behavior of my sisters. This one, because she was listening to English, like music and the books and the stuff, it changes her behavior. And the one who learned Arabic, because like, you know, the adab al-Arabi, والشعر, all that, and the Quran and this and that, you can see her personality, how personality changes. So, yes. Any more questions?
So I'm also learning Arabic. I'm not native at home, but my husband's Egyptian, and he doesn't speak it fully, but like all of his family is exclusively speaking Egyptian Arabic. When I'm trying to learn myself, it's like a battle between dialects of like resources, and it's like, oh, greetings are this way in like modern standard or Levantine, and then Egyptian is like totally different. So I'm kind of struggling like in my home what to learn and what to teach. I don't know if you have.
I would recommend for you as an adult learner, Arabiyat al-Nas has an Egyptian book. So the one I have is Levantine, just because it's my dialect, but there's exactly the same thing in Egyptian. And it focuses heavily, so you'll have like on the chart, MSA, Egyptian dialect. Some books will have all three, MSA, Levantine, and Egyptian. But I would say in your case, just focusing on Egyptian, there are plenty of resources that just focus on that. Plus, I think as most of us native speakers will know, so much of the film and music and like theater industry was all in Egyptian Arabic for the longest time. So you can find tons of resources just in terms of like, you know, films to watch or whatever that are in Egyptian Arabic, and that helps a lot. Like adding, you know, the audio visual aspect, so it's not just like a textbook, makes it more relevant and more memorable, and that's how you really connect language to memories, through sound and song and video, and you see that imagery. And you know, I would highly recommend that, where it's in Egyptian Arabic and maybe dubbed in English. And it's the same thing. If there's a word you don't know, you write it down. Even phonetically, you write it down and you come back to it, so you have your own list that you can refer back to. Just the process of writing makes a big difference.
You see the reels right now became like, and how like 2 or 3 girls, friends or whatever, like, what do you say about this word in Syrian language, or like Syrian like delegate, or like in,
oh yeah, it's a group of 5 people.
Yes.
They say the same word in the It's so funny.
So like sometimes like really like I'm learning this like now right now the resources, if you find anything, it's like the resources is like available right now. You just need to find it. But like what she says, it's very important to focus in one area, and eventually Watch more TV, like you will learn
Like, for
everything.
myself and like teaching my son, do you think it's better to just focus on Egyptian
Yes.
and then move on to?
Mixing MSA with Egyptian. If you want some reading and writing, that's important, but that's why the idea of comprehensible input is that you're listening and repeating. You're getting the message and the imagery through repetition. So eventually when they're reading and writing, they're gonna recognize the words, and the good news about the lettering system in Arabic is it's totally phonetic. So when people say, oh, Arabic is so hard to learn, I say absolutely not. Every letter has a sound, and although there are 4 forms, typically it's just 1 or 2, depending, except for like ha is the only one with really 4 separate forms. But for the most part, it's really 2 forms, so it's not that overwhelming. 28 letters instead of 26 or whatever. And just finding the place to make the sound, like the guttural sounds or the ones that use the epiglottis, it is the hardest thing I think for non-native speakers. But outside, once you kind of get over the idea that yes, the pronunciation is a little bit more challenging, we're all physically capable of creating those sounds, right? There are no tones as in Chinese, so you don't have to worry about tones. And yeah, I mean, you can, once you know the letters, you can read and write anything. So it's a good balance to do both, right? Some reading and writing, some listening and speaking. That way you're kind of holistically learning and approaching the language from different angles.
And I believe since like you're gonna teach your son, I'm sure you're teaching him Quran. Quran is like Fusha is like the most like top book that is like when you teach and when he reads it and he learned the word like that's what I do like when we teach Quran Islamic studies. When we read the surah, we go over the meaning. We read the surah once and like the meaning of the surah, and try to put like some movement with it. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ اللَّهُ الصَّمَدُ. Like a strong, he doesn't need help from anybody. لم يلد ولم يولد. So like it's very important, like to learn Fusha, you can use the Quran Egyptian because this is like what he's like his heritage, and as a Fusha, you can use that resource for yourself. That will help him, inshallah.
One other clarification. So if one is traveling to Khaliji area or working in the Khaliji area, do you recommend MSA or Levantine to study?
I wouldn't recommend Levantine specifically because the dialect is so different there. Because you'll struggle. I mean, then you're having to go basically 3 steps, like MSA and Levantine and then Khaliji. I would just go straight from MSA to Khaliji.
So there is a Khaliji.
There is
I
a
didn't know
dialect.
that.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. The sounds are very different. And so again, finding resources, like finding either musical artists or in theater or whatever. I'm trying to think.
Is there a resource that says these are the artists that are like
I think
I read
just
that
Googling, you'll find it if you
You'll find-
Google it.
okay,
Yeah,
got
like
it.
when
It's all
there's a period of time where I was out of school for 3 weeks for a medical situation, and I basically found one film for each dialect. So the kids, for every 2 or 3 days, they're watching a film in each dialect.
Oh,
And so they do
got it.
specifically, this is Jordanian, this is Lebanese, this is Syrian, or Saudi, and I tried to mix the dialects. So I think just Googling and previewing ahead of time before showing your children absolutely very critical. Because there were some that were comedy that I thought were not, like, I wouldn't want my own kids watching because it just was over the top, to be sit there. I'm sorry.
This is the live
Yeah,
stream.
sorry. I hope my voice, I hope you can still hear me. But yes, I would definitely recommend going straight to Khadija.
And one additional question, maybe that's helpful to you too, is this is more for me, right? Are there platforms where you can work with native speakers, because it's practice, right? I'm hearing the music, I'm hearing the movies, but is there platforms where you can talk to native people so I can practice with a Khaliji person?
Yes, I would recommend Natakallam. Natakallam means like we speak, and it's a program where I think you have to purchase it. It's a little bit pricey, but it's really worth it. Where you work with a native speaker. I think it's for 30 minutes in like a bundle of 5 sessions, something like that. I know the people who also developed that program. And I know, like in my school, the Spanish teachers subscribe to a similar one, and they say that it's some of the most impactful method of learning, because you're basically with a native speaker for 30 minutes, and you're immersed. There's no choice to speak English or anything else. Like they don't speak English, and all of them are trained. Like if you want them to speak with you as an adult or to speak with your children, if it's children, they're trained specifically to work with children. They're vetted heavily. So when they go through Natakallam, like they are trained how to communicate with children and how to do so. Like it's very safe. There are a lot of measures in there for me, that's critical as a teacher in a school with everyone is 18 or under. So, and if it's for you as an adult, you can choose like adult. You want to speak with an adult, or you want to have somebody who specializes with children, and you can do both. But Natakallam is the one that I know the most. I'm sure there are other ones, but I've met the people who have developed it, and they're really legit. I mean, they come to ACTFL every year. They're part of the Arabic SIG every year. I've seen them on Zoom since COVID and beyond. I mean, and their program is legitimate, and I can vouch for it. So definitely recommend Natakallam.
Thank you.
Yes.
Will you be teaching middle schoolers and high schoolers at the Arabic Schoolhouse?
So as of now, I mean, as of now, I think the program ends at the age of 8, right?
10.
10. It ends at the age of 10.
For now.
Yeah, for now. We haven't discussed that actually at all. I'm just here to kind of talk about the future for
I'd
your
be
children.
open to that if you were.
You'd be interested to have.
Yes, I have 3 teenagers.
Okay. See, and mine are 10 and 12, so mine are also too old to be in
Right.
this program, although they would be here otherwise. But I mean, something we can think about.
A new door to be open.
We love opening doors, so.
We'll talk about it. Any other questions?
Come on, guys, we don't do this a lot.
Yeah, I would just to balance, you mentioned like teaching Arabic through the Quran for Muslims. There are also very secular approaches to learning Arabic. I happen to teach in a Christian private school, so I don't teach with Islam at all. I don't teach like the religion, and I don't do politics and any of that. That's for the history teachers to deal with, the politics of the region. So I just focus on the language itself. And so they're absolutely, I think it's worth customizing your approach. Like if you want to use, Deen and have an Islamic route, of course, like there's so many resources, like, Alif is for Allah, like so many songs that I remember we learned as kids, right? So many songs. But if you want to go also with a secular approach, that there's so many options for that too.
The resources are available, like so many resources right now.
You can customize, yeah, absolutely. And I love, like, for example, my Pakistani students they speak Urdu at home, making connections with the languages they speak outside of Arabic, even if you don't speak those languages. Like if you're doing shukran, right, they may say, oh, it's like shukriya, it's like the same beginning shukr as thank, and then shukriya, shukran. That's how you really hit their heart chords. Like that's how you help them feel that they have an advantage, because really I found that Urdu is a lot like Hindi in Arabic, right? Hindi with Arabic letters, because again of the history of the region. So making any language connections is important. Same with Spanish, right? Even though I teach Arabic, some of my students take Spanish as well, so they take 2 languages at once. Even if they don't, we live in Texas, so I'll say like almost every word that starts in A in Spanish that has any connection with the Moors in Spain, like aceitun is el zaytun, and so they learn that the A is el for alif lam, like the zaytun is actually olive, so aceitun or azúcar, el sukar. So I use Spanish in my Arabic classroom a lot, French wherever I can as well. So I try to connect anytime I can, or if they have taken Spanish and they find the connection. I love when it comes from them. There's sometimes things I don't even know. Yeah, and again, also the YouTube videos, there's so many about Arabic and Spanish. And so they'll say the word in Arabic, the word in Spanish. You see the word written, you see the sound of it, and the connection. Alberca is birki, it's a pool. And so there's also piscina, right? So which one came from Latin, which one came from Arabic. The kids, their language is endlessly fascinating. Obviously I'm obsessed because I'm a polyglot, but and if you know more languages, it's easier. But even if you don't, you can just go online. Let other people be the experts on that, even if you don't speak Spanish or French or something else, right? Or Urdu. But I think it's really critical, because when the kids see that Arabic has these gateways and pathways to other languages, like that makes them feel even more motivated that this language is a gateway for so many others. And it absolutely will give them an advantage later on in life.
And it's fun.
It is.
It's
fun. And same for their resume. Not that it should be the only reason, right? But absolutely, when colleges see that they've had even 1 or 2 years of Arabic in high school, boom. That kid stands out from the pile of everyone else who takes Spanish or Latin. Most programs in this, private schools are cutting French, which is what I've been teaching for 18 years. Some schools are holding on to it fiercely. Other schools are trying to reduce their faculty, so they stick with only Spanish and Latin and some Chinese. And what I find is if you have only those 3, Spanish is the most practical for Texas. Latin is not a spoken language, so even if they say, oh, for medical, for ACT, for SAT, you can have it with Spanish and speak with people, so that's a double advantage. So why speak a language that's really a dead language, or speak, learn. And then with Chinese, I find that really, unless you're a native speaker or you're actually spending time in China or going back and forth, it's really challenging for non-native speakers to get far. With Arabic, they can still get far because it's phonetic, right? You don't have to learn thousands of symbols and each one means 5 things, like, so it's a huge difference. And I love languages. I know my limits. For me, like, Chinese is beyond like what I could possibly do. But I'm actually interested in learning Japanese. We'll have to talk about that. Single phoneme, consonant, vowel combinations. So we'll talk about it.
This is fascinating.
Yeah.
And I don't want to monopolize other people on questions. I have monopolize. I was going to say that do you see from where you stand, and you're plugged into the school system, both public and private, do you see, if they're cutting French, do you see a position for Arabic?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, that's, in my school, we never decided to cut French. We added Arabic about, in 2018. And now I'm department chair. And so I run the languages. I manage 15 people in 5 languages. And so I get to actually help with the programming. And that's something we'll never let go of. We'll never let go of French. Fortunately, our head of school, he's Catholic, but he's married to Hafida, who's from Morocco, and she's Muslim. And so, like, there's a French connection, there's an Arabic connection.
Yeah,
so we're fortunate in my school to have connections with Arabic and French that will keep the languages sustainable. But for teachers at other private schools or even public schools where they find that the threat of losing a language is there, for whatever language that is, they have to advocate in the school and say why it's important to keep that language. They have to let the school understand that having more language options is better, that it's not a zero-sum game, right? It's not about you have these 5 and this is going to take away from the other. Relax, oppositely, each one actually can enhance or modify or build on the other. And that's why we make room in our schedule for students to take 2. I have brand new students coming into 8th grade who want to take French and Chinese. I mean, some of our top kids, really, they take Arabic and French, or they take 2 languages. Puts them at a huge advantage. So we try to emphasize that it's better to have more offerings than less. Why limit them when we have the resources, when we have the people who could do it? So, for example, I have my colleague Jamilla teaches French in the middle school. If I grow my Arabic program enough, inshallah, she'll teach Arabic too, and we can both, I'll have 1 year, she'll have 1 year, and the kids will alternate. So, my goal is always to expand. I don't know that we'll add any more than 5 at this point, but I do have a World Languages and Cultures Club where once a week or twice a week we meet, we do German, Italian, Russian, like anything that's not offered in the school, we do those languages in the club. And either I help run the language if I know it at the intermediate level, or, of course I rely on YouTube also, but really I pull from the student population. I say, like, if anybody in this school speaks another language, join my club and you showcase it, or you bring your mom or dad, or you bring whatever, a resource you have, another teacher from a different school to come. And so that's something that I've been doing for many years, and it's one of my favorite things to do outside of the classroom.
Connect with the community and make it like usable. And
Absolutely. I mean, just being able to recognize alphabets in different languages. Like now, if I see Korean, I'm like, oh, that's Korean. It looks like boxes and lines and dots. I would have never known. But we have a teacher who went to Korea to teach English for 2 years. He's a totally white American guy. He's not Korean at all. But he came to my club, talked about what Korean language looks like and sounds like and how it's mathematically based and so on. And now we all come away with a different knowledge, a different piece that we can share. So I think each language actually helps build strength in the other languages. They're not competing against each other.
And I believe like learning other languages, different cultures, bring more peace and harmony to people, to the world. And I see what's going on right now. Like I don't want to mention anything, but like you see how people are supported because they get to know the people, the culture, the language, and what's going on and the true story about it. You were raising your hand earlier.
Yeah. So my question is for my son. He's 6 actually, and I am doing homeschooling with him. I'm also a Montessori-certified teacher. So I wanted to implement the Arabic through the Montessori way.
Mhm.
So I was having a hard time to find some like Sanskrit letters, movable alphabets for the Montessori. So if you guys know any.
Did you say movable alphabets?
Yeah.
Oh, there's a great magnet. You can just go on Amazon, unless you're boycotting Amazon. But if you're not boycotting Amazon, there's a great magnet board. I literally just pulled from my board. It's like, they're like blue letters. And they have all the Arabic letters in all the forms. Dots are separated. So you have beginning, middle, you have the initial, medial, final, and independent. And it comes as like a grid. You have it? You know what I'm talking about? The blue ones. They're so great.
We got it from China. No, I got it from.
لا حرام عليك.
No.
Yeah.
No. I got my. I'm ordering mine from from China.
Yeah.
But it's available right now. There isn't many resources. You
Yeah.
can look up Arabic Montessori
Magnet.
alphabets.
Yeah, or Arabic magnet.
Whatever you can see, like in Alibaba, in a lot of places, you
And
can.
they are reliable, like Alibaba. I've heard them a lot. But
Yeah, they're good.
And there's also the one that for the very, very young ones, the wooden one where the letters fit into the spaces and they have like Asad underneath Aleph or something, you know, so you can see the animal or the plant or whatever. with
I'm
the-
sure Miss Nada Hassan over here, she have stuff like this that you can benefit from, because she's the one who made the
My Arabic box.
my Arabic box, because you have the sound and you have the picture to match with it, and even she wrote them in English, and which is like it's helpful in the beginning if you are not speaking like parent, but when the kids are being able to read, it's like I was like, oh my gosh, he's really good, and I noticed like he's reading in English like Asad, and he just matched without like really understanding. So like
Well, and for example, I teach, although I have lots of resources, I purchased the blocks
Yeah.
and I also purchased the workbook. And I'm going to take that back to my school and use it as my resource as well. Yeah, this one, it's lovely because you match the letter, you know, with the picture.
so you can like build the vocab and
Yeah, so here's Aleph and then further down, I found it
So is
very.
it in feminine, masculine, just general, like?
Just general. These are all, yeah. Well, the feminine will be if there's a ta marbuta at the end, like a silent
Okay.
closed T, a tight T.
Still learning.
madrasa.
Yeah, madrasa, sayyara, anything with the sound ah at the end
And,
is typically feminine, and the rest are masculine. But so like there's Aleph with Asad, right? So you can see the Aleph in its initial form, and you see it here in its initial form. So I have like older versions of this where it's like the front and back, but I love that this is a matching game where they're separated. So like even though I have other ones, it's nice to have fresh new materials.
so it's not boring. And the thing is, like, you can use this like to teach them the sounds. In the beginning, maybe like just like you like to do it Montessori way with all the alphabets like in a random order on the rug. Then you start like matching the picture with it. And when he mastered all the sounds, he knows all the sounds. Now you can put them in the rug in order, alif, ba, ta, ta.
Right.
And add the writing, always add the writing to like a slowly, like it's going to take time, but eventually they
Like, I
will.
have a question, like in English, you really don't need to have a sequence, right?
It's
With the letters, with the sounds, right?
A sequence of letters, you mean, like in the alphabet? I don't know. When we talk about sequencing, I'll be honest. Like all the resources I use at the older level, they actually start with like ba-ta, tha, but then they do like all the letters that disconnect, like aleph, wow, So it's like which ones connect and which ones don't connect are more important than just a sequence, like the alphabetical sequence. Also, I don't know if you guys are using this resource, but if you look up on YouTube, it's my favorite one. It's called Arabic Alphabet Chanson, like the word for song in French, CHANSON. It's made by a French person. The only problem with it is the alif, they say alif, but all the rest are perfect. And it's like alif, ba, ta, tha, jim, ha, kha. So the song is different. I love it. And so we do that at the regular speed, and then we do it slow speed, and then we speed it up extra fast. And like my children learned it that way, my students learned it that way, and we all have that same version of the song in our head. So, but also you can find an Islamic version of it. You can find so many versions of the alphabet, but I think, I think once they internalize the letters, they won't have to go like, oh, it's seen. Like they don't have to go all the way through, right? I like to focus on which ones look like each other. So like with the ba, the ta, and the tha, and how the ya also does
and
that.
the noon and
The noon, how it looks like
In the
the
beginning.
tooth. I call it a tooth
Yes.
because it looks like the bottom of a tooth, and that's how I was taught a long time ago. And then that ba below, ta two above, tha three. So like the way the dots are. So even with numbers, right? If you think about the numbers, like the wahid is one stroke, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. I say it's like all your fingers come together,
Yeah.
right? The 6 looks like a
Absolutely.
backward 7. 7 opens to heaven. 8
It's
down.
only praying.
Yeah, and then 9 looks like a real 9. So
But this is not even the Arabic numbers.
I know. And so
Yeah.
it's just there are ways to connect where it's meaningful and memorable. And so if you're authentic and excited about it, I think the kids will be as well.
The thing is, like for like the word in sequence, like it's a skill for them to make sure they're doing it right, and like it's like there's like if he does or does not do it, but it's a good skill for them to learn the sequence, to be in order. That's
Well, and beyond just sequence, I mean, taking a word like bait, you know, we have the 3 letters, right? Most Arabic words come from a 3-letter root base. So you start with bait, right? And then al bait, baiti, you know, like, so you're saying the house, my house. So just adding prefixes and suffixes so that you can show how you manipulate a word to change it as part of speech is very critical for language, I think, as well. So then they realize, oh, this word, one word bait can have so many things, or with verbs especially, right? There's so much that they can do. Exactly. So, and going from, I focus on present, past, and future tense. I don't go very complicated with the grammar because really that's all that you really need when you're traveling.
I'm an Arabic speaking person. Like when it used to be grammar class in high school, like what she's talking about.
Yeah, you don't want to lose them. The grammar can get really heavy.
It's really hard.
Yeah, so I pick and choose. Quite frankly, there's a lot of grammar that I don't even waste my time with because they're not going to remember that in 5 years or 10 years. It's more important to focus on, they talk about themselves and others. They relate it to food. Masalan, I do like a cooking thing with my students where I have them prepare a dish and they record themselves speaking in the language like a cooking show. And it's only like 5 sentences, very easy template. Today I'm gonna make this. These are the main ingredients. First I do this, then I do this, finally this, and here, voila, the final thing, whatever. I do it in French, I do it in Arabic, and the kids love it. And that's how we go from the Fusha to the Ami. Because if they're speaking, like, it's really weird to do it in Fusha when it's like an active thing. And I'll have them do it 2 ways. One will be like, you know, do this, and so they're using commands. The next time around, I am doing this. So they're saying like what they're doing. So you can build the grammar in that way where it's just 2 pieces there. One is a command, right, or suggestion, and one is like, I am doing this present tense, right? So that's how you take that experience. And then they make the dish. It's in a video. Their parents, their family get to share in eating that dish. So now the family is invested in them learning Arabic. And then they bring it to school and we have sampling. So we each try the dish after watching the video. So then they each learn about the dishes around the, you know, Arabic speaking
I
world.
think teaching adults is very interesting because like you just like show it and like they do the work
Yeah.
for you. So like it's
Plus field trips. Anytime, like the Kier collection of Islamic art and the DMA, like, and there was a zirafa, speaking of giraffe, that was in the alphabet here, but the zirafa exhibit at UT Dallas. Like I take my kids anytime there's some kind of art display in Arabic, we go. And then we, of course, go to like an Arabic speaking, you know, or like Afrah or somewhere, and we eat like a buffet so they can try. But you have to be careful of food allergies because there's a lot of sesame and nuts and fusta halab and pistachios. Be careful. Be careful with the allergies.
We have time for one more question.
yes. Go ahead.
I'm so curious about the resource we were talking about, chanson. Can you repeat those?
Yeah, it's just Arabic alphabet chanson, CHANSON.
Just
It's a YouTube
post
video.
all the stuff somewhere. So
Yeah,
that it can
it's a
be
YouTube
available.
video. It's a great alphabet because you know what? They show the letter and they show the animal, and then underneath it pops up like this. I mean, there's so many things about it. It's so visually appealing, colorful, and again, speeding it up and slowing it down makes it really fun.
I think like Adam and Mishmish, like books and songs, they are very, very helpful.
Guys, everything you guys they talked about, we have at Arabic Schoolhouse.
Yes.
Just saying.
Yeah, these are like standard.
It's-
standard.
It's like Mishmish and Adam and Mishmish, like they really like a resource because they do the song, the dance, and the picture, and they have books with it.
And they're theme based. So
Yes.
it's very practical, very day to day things that they see, they think they can relate to.
You have numbers, you have letters, you have animals, you have family, you have like all the stuff. Like in a fun, like we do the dance in the classroom. Zaza and Zuzu, like Rukbatain, I forgot the song.
Yeah, body parts. And
Yeah, body like it's
Yeah,
same with
exactly.
numbers.
Arabic version.
Yeah, you have also
Yeah.
numbers. Then you do time. Then you do first, second, third. You know,
everything.
ordinal,
So, like,
cardinal. Yeah.
and the more vocab they have, like the language will become easier for them to use, and you know, like it feels good. Like if you go somewhere and you heard something that you know, like oh, I know that. It's fun.
We're gonna wrap it up. Any final thoughts? Jamilla?
Basically, your kids are so lucky to have all these resources that we have nowadays because you all know growing up we didn't have any of that.
Finally, it's
And so we're so lucky just to be able to have our kids grow up in this time where everything is available, just like we have in English. Don't worry about it. We have it in Arabic. Even me and Lena, when we went to our trip in Jordan, we were amazed. We brought back everything for Arabic Schoolhouse, from the movable puzzles to all the games, the board games in Arabic. Even that, what's the game that you always play?
Yeah. It's like the thing where it's like a charade.
The kids love that game so much. And then all these, like my Arabic box, we use that on a daily. Every week we use it for the kids. to matching it. So alhamdulillah, we have all these resources.
And all these themes. I mean, there's so many themes
Yes.
involved, you know, and that's, you're asking about Montessori. Following themes is the most important thing you can do, right? So like if your child really loves animals, right, let them do a whole unit focus on animals and just, you know, explore all the different animals and what color is it big, is it small, and comparing, and there's so many things you can do.
Where did they live in? Which continent? What did they eat? How they produce and how they grow? Like where, like it's endless. Like if you choose like a dinosaurs itself, like it's like really endless. Like resource of learning.
I don't know about dinosaurs in Arabic. That sounds hard. Like,
I can like
that sounds really hard.
But also notice what they like.
let's say
Whatever
general
they
animals.
like, just convert it to
Use it. Yes.
One of the first things I did with my son when he was 4 was I made phonetic. It's phonetic, so it's easy. Batman. How do you write Batman in not Arabic? You know, bat, alif, ta, you know. So it motivated him, and he got really happy with it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the first time I went to the Middle East, like I was like 10 actually the first time I went, and I remember like we were in the restaurant and we were reading the sign like hamburger. Oh, hamburger. Like, you know, like but that's the thing. I mean, in the end, there's like phonetics are important. So yeah.
All right, so that's it for today. Thank you guys again so much for coming. If you have any questions beyond today, I'm happy to provide their contacts. Is that okay?
Sure, of course,
Sure.
yes.
Anytime.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, thank you also YouTube live people for joining us.
Nice meeting you.
Yeah, sharafna. Nice to meet you too. It's great to be here. Are we able to, can we check that out, that table back there?
It's very stressful.